All right, good evening. Thursday night, we are continuing with Torah 19, Yutes. We are holding by Seif Vav 6. So before we get to share the extra Torah, let's just encapsulate a little bit what it is that we have learned so far. So after we have explained that there is something, a bechina, which is called Lashon HaKodesh, which is the tool with which the world was created. I'll touch a little bit about that. And the Lashon Kodesh, we're talking about two separate stages. There is the stage where the Lashon Kodesh was the tool with which HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, in which case, obviously, it was perfect. And there is the Shleimus Lashon Kodesh that signifies the work that a person has to do in this world, the completion of a person's work. So this is something called Shleimus Lashon Kodesh, means the completing, the perfecting, the rectification of Shleimus Lashon Kodesh. And the Lashon Kodesh, from the second way of looking at it, it depends on Shmiras HaBris. It depends on one's sanctity when it has to do with relations. So this is one side of the equation. On the other side, there is the Raha Koilel. There is the overriding, the all-encompassing evil of all the 70 nations, which is the flame of the 70 stars, it's called. It's the flame of the taiva of illicit relationships. Now, it's a seesaw kind of relationship. When a person has achieved Shleimus Lashon Kodesh, the perfection of Lashon Kodesh, then the taiva of Niyuf does not have control over him. But when there's no Shleimus Lashon Kodesh, when a person does not have Lashon Kodesh perfected, according to his Madrega, Taivas Niyuf can control him. We also explained that the flame of the 70 nations is so powerful that it is basically overwhelming. So a person wouldn't have had a chance to withstand against it. What happens is that when a person does Masim Tovim, the good deeds of a person draw from above a special deflector shield, as they used to say in Star Trek. It's called Chashmal. Chashmal is not, the technological electricity we're talking about, but it's a force that surrounds the person, the emunah of a person, and it repels the koyach of the klippas. It repels the koyach of the husks and the tumah. Because generally speaking, a person your inner core is the neshama. The neshama is the godly part in you. This part in you, as we said many times before, has no negia, there's no touching. The tumah cannot touch it. It's buried too deep. However, when a person comes into this world, the reason why it comes into this world is in order to achieve to perfect himself. And the way that the person perfects himself and improves himself is by facing challenges and overcoming them, or facing challenges and not overcoming them, but nevertheless holding on to try again, which is a much harder test. And one of the tests that people have to hold on, which is the test of Amunah, is now when you have this battle and you win. It's very hard, but but at the end of the day, whew, I'm over, did it. That is the easy part. The harder part is when a person tries and he falls. And then the Yetzer Hara comes on, this voice within a person, and tells a person, come on, man, who are you kidding? You're never going to make it. Who do you think you are, the Lubavitcher Rebbe? I mean, come on, just stop. Just be realistic. Realize who you are. Stop, having this demionis. You see it's not going, just let go. And the nisayon is, I don't care about success and failure. Yes, of course I do. But what I'm saying is success and failure are not the proof of whether I win or lose, or whether I'm doing my job or not doing my job. I succeed when HaKadosh Baruch Hu helps me, and I succeed. I fail when HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not help me succeed, and he wants me at this particular point in time to fail and to keep on keeping on and to try again. Obviously, this is a much harder test. I mean, it's not as, glorified as like, you're going out with the sword and just killing everybody and just like, and being wounded in battle at the end, you're just standing with your foot on top of the body of your last enemy, and you raise your sword up and go, yeah, well, that's much more fun. And the stuff of legends. But the Zohar Kodesh says not like that. He says that when on Sukkot, when we are carrying the lulav, I don't know if you ever felt that way, when you are shuckling the lulav feels like a sword. So with the Ravas and the Dasim, it feels like a sword, like you're waving a sword. So the Zohar Kodesh says that the lulav and the Dalad Minim, they are they are the proof that Am Yisrael has won the battle. They went through Rosh Hashanah, which was the Judgment Day. They went through Yom Kippur, and here they're coming to Sukkot, and they're holding the Dalad Minim as a proof positive that they won. And the Zohar Kodesh says, how is somebody who wins the battle defined? So the Zohar says, the one who is holding the weapon in his hand. And this is what the Dalet Minim represent, which in a sense is a little bit difficult to understand, because the one who wins is not the one who holds the weapon, but the one that really knocks the other one on the head, and maybe takes his head off, and that's the one who wins the battle, the one who holds the hand. So who holds the weapon? But the answer is that in spiritual battle, there really is no, every once in a while, after a while you already chop his head off. The Rebbe says, when you go on with, so you're chopping, the head of the hands of whatever it is of all the klippos that you're going through. But the main winning of the battle is holding on to the weapon in your hands. It's being stubborn and saying, I don't care. This world, is operating on American system. American system means it's success based. If you succeeded, then you succeeded, and then you're worth something. But if you failed and you tried again and you failed and tried again, it only means something if at the end you win. But if you end up not winning, as far as the American system is concerned, you ain't done diddly. There's a very famous business legend that the person, the entrepreneur that has begun Macy's, has actually started and failed 7 times before. The seventh time that he started was Macy's, and that's the one that caught on. But the only reason why this is stuff of legend is because he stuck with it and he won the 7th time. But if he would have started, if he would have started and failed again, and started and failed again, and started and failed again, he wouldn't be a stuff of legend. He would, as far as the people are concerned, he would be considered, the guy who simply didn't have it. It's just like this isn't Gashmias. This isn't Gashmias. This is hold on, I cannot. This is in Gashmis, but it's not in Ruchnias. In Ruchnias, the signal of success is sticking with it, is keeping on. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have any problem in letting you win if this is the best thing for you. You can be born with, IQ 200 and do everything and understand everything on the spot. Or if this is what you need, you can be born with an IQ of room temperature, in the winter, and have hold on just one second. I have to just one second. Hold on. Let me just arrange. Okay, back to the soul minds. Sorry for the disturbance. Anyhow, so we said that success spiritually means that you stick with it and you're not impressed by glitter. That doesn't do it to you. You are impressed by sticking with it. So the person's neshama, the klippos have absolutely no shaychus with it. So what happens is, so in order for the person to have some kind of shaykhs to the to this world, to the challenges which are in this world, and improve himself. This can happen only if HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the neshama another wrapping, which has shaykhs with the challenges of a person in this world. And this is something called nefesh habemis. It's called the animal or the animalistic spirit. Now, the animalistic spirit is the thing that can be involved with, can be tempted by, can have an interaction with the kelipot. So the neshama which is inside is wrapped around a nefesh behemis, an animalistic spirit, which will tempt a person into this world. Around that there is a klipa, it's called klipa snoga. The person is surrounded with a husk, it's called klipa snoga. And after the klipa snoga, there are the three totally defiled and tumadik klipot, which is it's ruach se'ara, it's a storm wind, and onan godol, a great cloud, and esh mislakachas, a self-taking fire, and these are the totally tumadik klipos. Now, the battle is waged in the klipa snoga, and this the nefesh behamis, goes in and into the klipa snoga, and the klipas that mayas have, they can also, push their, their will into klipas snoga. Now it's a question of what the person decides to do. Either he works on himself, and then what he does, he's actually gleaning from that mixture of good and bad, the klipas noga, and elevates it to the kedusha, and with this he is perfecting the shlemus l'shem kodesh. Or if he is not as careful and not as resolute, what happens is that the three tumadika klipos pull the good, which is the klipas noga, into the defilement. And not only this, but with this, it can overcome the chashmal. It weakens the chashmal. It weakens the deflector shield, and therefore can actually leach directly from the kedusha. This is the source of what we would call nocturnal emissions. Gamma bris is the hepech of tikkun habris and tikkun l'shem kodesh. So when a person has a shlemus l'shem kodesh, when he has perfect l'shem kodesh, we said shlemus l'shem kodesh means that he's davening the best he can. He is talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu at any time that he can. He is trying. He's refraining from lashon hara. He's refraining from idle speech, from idle gossip. He doesn't just talk and talk and talk and talk until smoke comes out of his ears. It's a person who is using the dibur in order to come close to Kodesh Baruch Hu. Then the Taivas Niyuf cannot control him, because any good deed you do, any good dibur that you do, whatever it is that you try, any tshuva that you do, you fell down and you're getting up again, and you're doing you institute some kind of corrective measures to say, to try maybe next time not to fall there. This is building up the shlemus l'shem kodesh. That makes sure the Taivas Niyuf does not control you. But when a person does not have shlemus l'shem kodesh, when it's not perfected, then the Tavis Neov has a control over him. It can pull him down. And we said that there is Klipas Noiga, which is the middle ground between the overriding bad and the Lashon Kodesh. And this is the interface between the Tuma and the Kedusha, which enables the Ra Koilol to suction off from Lashon Kodesh and to make a person sin Aleinu in Taivas Niyuf. The avoida of the man, as we said before, is to elevate the good in the Klipas Noiga. What happens then when you separate and you elevate the good, the bad falls down. That perfects the Lashon Kodesh. Now, Rabbeinu is taking this whole Inyan. This is something that we have spoken about many, many times. And Rabbeinu is going into an explanation that when a person perfects the Lashon Kodesh, something else happens. I started by saying that the world was created with Lashon Kodesh. The fact that the world was created with Lashon Kodesh, why did the Kodesh Baruch Hu need the Lashon Kodesh to create the world? The answer is because the Kodesh Baruch Hu is infinite. There's no end. So everything that the Kodesh Baruch Hu does is also infinite. So that means that there would be absolutely no measure. Everything Hashem would have created would have been infinite as well. The person would be infinite. The ant would be infinite. The elephant would be infinite. The monkeys would be infinite. The grass would be of infinite size. There would be no relationship, no interrelationship, no ratio between the different parts of creation. So what was necessary here is a step-down mechanism that will constrict the infinite Koyach VaKadosh Baruch Hu and will let it through in measured doses. Give me just 1 second. I just want to let my wife. Okay. So these step-down mechanisms, these constricting mechanisms, are the letters of the Aleph base. It's fascinating that Dafka in the Daf Yomi of today, Maseches Shabbos, the Gemara talks about the different conjugations of the letters of the Aleph base. And it gives specific meanings to, Aleph base. So they said now every child in Cheder knows Aleph base is Alpha Chabino, you should learn Torah. Gimel Dalad is Goimel Dalim. Hey Vav is Neva Kodesh Baruch Hu, and Eva Hashiana, and so forth and so on. And then it starts giving the meanings between the Kodesh Baruch Hu and Gehenim, with the combination of the first letter of the Aleph base and the last letter of the Aleph base, with the Alt Bash in base in Shin and so forth. It's absolutely fascinating. And then the Gemara brings another cheshbon in which there is combinations of every 7 letters, the beginning letters, the middle letters. The secret of the Hebrew letters is beyond human imagination. In fact, the more basic you get with the letters. The letters, you put letters together, it makes a word. You put words together, it makes psukim. You put psukim together, it makes parshas, and make parshas, v'chulu, v'chulu, v'chulu. The thing is, you would think if you were, American-based thinker, that obviously the more sophisticated it is, the more complex it is as you put the letters into words and into sentences and into this, that the more sophisticated it gets, that the more developed it gets. But and the higher it is. The answer is it's actually the opposite. The more fundamental you get, the higher it is. In other words, the psukim are higher than the parshas, and the words are higher than the psukim, and the letters are higher than the words, and the parts of the letters, why the letters are specifically constructed the way they are, is higher still. And the highest level of Isis is really, the kasarim, these crowns that are written in Sefer Torah on the letters Shatnez Gitz, these little, three pointy, 3 lines with dots on top of them look like a crown. These are even higher. This is where Rabbi Akiva was learning. This was his level of every single letter in the primordial thought. We already learned in previous Torahs that the letters, the way they are in the mind of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, is Nishmas Yisrael, and they interact with one another. And when they interact with one another, they give birth to Nishmas Gerim. It's just tremendous, deep in Yonim they have to do with the letters. Now, the thing is that every single thing in this world is made of letters. The letters are the thing that with this kind of combination, this kind of formula, it makes this, and obviously the Kabbalistic formulas in which things are made, only people who are very, very deeply versed in Kabbalah and Chochmas HaOlam can understand, which things are made with which letters. This is the deepest Chochmah that there is. Now, the thing is, as Rabbeinu has explained, is as follows. Is when a person Kshema Leto Shebatargum, let's just share the screen here and take a look. Rabbeinu is saying that. Okay, let's see. Okay, here you go. Kshema Letov Shebatargum, when a person elevates the good, he went through the battle, he won the battle, he elevated the good in the Targum, in the middle zone. And he perfects Loshen Kodesh Shebo Nivra Olam. He perfects Loshen Kodesh with which the world was created. That has an amazing effect. What that does, Moshe Ellis is an electrician, so he knows, we also know, basically, but he knows really well that when you complete the circuit, then the electricity can work. But if the circuit is broken, things, electricity does not work. So he says, when you are having Shlemus and Kodesh, you are basically completing the circuit, as it were. This awakens and magnifies and intensifies the power, the molecular power, as it were, of the letters of Lashon Kodesh that exists in everything in the world. And Rabbeinu says as follows: Ki kol davar yesh bo kama tziruf oisius shebo nivra ze hadavar. Every single entity in this world, it doesn't matter if it's physical, if it's spiritual, if it's emotional, or any other level you can think of. Every single thing, it has the combinations of the letters with which that thing was created. In other words, those letters were not just like a, how should we say, like a cookie cutter, like a, so they have a form like a star that the cream goes through and it remains, the form remains. It's not like a mold that you put the metal into it, and once it hardens, you just take it out and it's done. It doesn't work like that. The letters with which something is created remain there. As long as the letters are there, it continues to exist. But these letters are dormant. The reason why these letters are dormant is because they are steeped in the physical world. The physical world allows access to the kelipot. So these letters have to be embedded deep, 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 so the kelipot don't have the access to the subatomic force that exists in the letters of the kelipot, of every creation. However, al dei shleimus loshen kodesh, but when a person achieves shleimus loshen kodesh, al dei loshen targum, by facing the challenges that he met in loshen targum, al dei zen is oirin v'nisgaden lakoach she'ela oisius. What that does, it awakens and releases the primordial power of the letters which are in every single creation. שיש בכל דבר, ודבר זה, וזה ועתה, and now, יגדל נא כוח Hashem. Let the force of Hashem become greater, כאשר דיברת לאמור. This is a very important sentence. כאשר דיברת לאמור. כאשר דיברת, obviously the dibur here, we're talking about Shlemus Lashon Kodesh. Lemor, there's a pasuk in Yecheskel that says Lamer, it says, the Gemara says Lamer da Gila Eroyes. The pasuk in Yecheskel that talks about it is I think Gemara Sanhedrin talks about it. It says, I'm sorry, it's Yirmiyahu, it's not Yecheskel. Lemor hen yishlach ishas ishtoi ve'olcha. Lemor hen yishlach ishat ishtoi ve'olcha meitoi ve'hoysel ishacher. Lamer, let's say, lamer is what? Is a situation that the person sends his wife away, divorces his wife, and she went from him, and she became somebody else's. So Chazal said in Sanhedrin, the Dosha, what is the acher? What is lamer? What is the word lamer do over here? It's a person, divorces his wife. She went to. What is the lamer doing here? Usually, lamer is something that says, there's a message here that the person is supposed to say to somebody else. It says the lamer. This is the gilo erayos. Here we're talking about the taiva of illicit relationships. In other words, the lamor is a euphemism, is a hint to bechinas medura shel shivim kochavim. This is the medura shivim kochavim. It comes to signifies the flame of the 70 stars, the taivas niyuf. And that through the dibur, when you dibur of lashon kodesh, is controlling the lamer, and the lamer, which is Taivas Niyuf, cannot have control over it. What happens is Vata Yigdal Na Koyach Hashem. That increases the koyach of Hashem. What is the koyach of Hashem? In Maaseh Bereshis, there is the koyach, the 28 times is that the name of Hashem is that Hashem Vayomer Hashem, and says, and the name of Hashem is mentioned 28 times. 28 times is Gematria Koyach. And this is the right hand and the left hand. The right hand has 14 joints and the left hand has 14 joints. Altogether is the Koyach, is Koyach, the Koyach Masav. That's the Koyach, the force of the hands is made out of 14 and 14, 14 from the Chesed, 14 from the Gvura. Together is Koyach Hashem, is the Koyach of Maaseh Bereshis, the 20th Oisius of Maaseh Bereshis. And Vigdalna Koyach Hashem, the force that was inside the letters, is hidden inside the letters, like the energy is inside the subatomic particles, the atoms, and the atomic mass. And when you break it, tremendous energy comes out. Over here, when you have Shlomo Sashin Kodesh, and the Taivas Niyuf cannot control you, or it was nisbatal, it was nullified through the Dibur of Loshin Kodesh canal, the Kasher Dibarta Lemar, what the Kasher Dibarta Lemar says, commensurately as you have spoken, Lemar, that your speech was able to control the Lemar. Haynu Kefia Dibur Sha'aloshin Kodesh, the extent of the perfection, of the sanctity, Loshin Kodesh, with which the arayas, the Tavis Niyuf, were nullified. Commensurate, this is how you increase the primordial koach, which is in the letters themselves, in the words themselves. Because commensurately with the perfection that you have perfected Loshin Kodesh, which in itself is what? Is the breakage, shviras v'bitul Taivas Niyuf. This is the breaking of the Taivas Niyuf. Can, commensurate to that, can nisgadel v'nis'or koyach Hashem shemaaseh bereshis Hashem oisius shebechol dova v'dova sheba'olam kanal. That's the way commensurate that it increases and brings up the koyach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that exists in everything, that exists in the letters, that exists in everything, that exists in the world. Okay. Now we're talking about a deeper level. Rabbeinu is telling us that when you are perfecting Loshin Kodesh, you are actually coming from the level of relating to the chitzonius, to the outer level, as it were, of reality, and you're getting deeper. You're starting to operate on the molecular level of reality. You're no longer just dealing with the surface of reality, but you're dealing with the essence of reality. Rabbeinu is bringing us to a startling realization in the next phase that we're going to learn, and that is, this world was created for us to enjoy. Literally. It seems like, for anybody who's on the outside that looks at who we are, the way we are, and it says, we are supposed to be like ascetics, that those that like deprive themselves from any kind of enjoyment, any kind of. This world was actually created to be enjoyed. But it seems to us like, what are you talking about? The world was created to be enjoyed. Everybody is saying, don't do this and don't do that, and taivas achila, and taivas moment, and taivas this, and taivas that. Everything is like, stay away from enjoying this, stay away from enjoying this. So how can you say that this world was created to be enjoyed? The answer is, this world was created with a choice. You can either enjoy the superficial level, MasterChef Australia, or, specific, Wagyu beef and all kinds of, I don't know what, and buy yourself yachts and private planes, though I don't know where they're going to go today, and with music and art and all these things are ways and means to enjoy the superficial level of existence, the gashmias. It's easier to access. All you got to do is take something that tastes good, put in your mouth, go, what did you put in there? What was it? This cumin? That's interesting. What is that? Like, do I taste lemon in it? What is lemon? What's the same thing with, with the Ferrari, the same thing with everything else. Even music, especially art. The more sublime it becomes, the more gashmias it is. But underneath it all, by staying away from the physical aspect of enjoyment, by cutting it out, what you're doing is you are getting into the level of oisius. You are getting into the level where HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're going into the letters the way they were in the mind of HaKadosh Baruch Hu when he created everything. And what you do then is you enjoy the same things everybody else does. But you're enjoying the letters, the level of the letters, not the letters, the umami of the taste of the salt and the pepper. Your letters that you're enjoying the letters of the oisius. And as we'll find out, Bezrat Hashem the next time, that this opens up your heart. Vayochal vayesh vayitav libo. This we'll see Bezrat Hashem next time. But the main thing is we need to understand, is something that a lesson which is important to share, and that is, it's very common that when you jump in, when you go in, when you step into Yiddishkeit, if you're thinking that Sammy, the Samach Mem, the Yetzer Hara, is going to hold your coat and cheer you on, you got something else coming, dude. The minute that you come in, he jumps on your case First of all, trying to tell you, forget about it, it's not for you. Leave it alone. And if that doesn't work, he's going to get you, or try to get you, through all your weaknesses. By the way, he knows every single one of them. It could be feeling of inferiority. It could be a feeling of inadequacy. It could be through extreme anxieties. I mean, you can live with it like a total conviction that whatever it is that you're going to touch is going to blow up. It's just a question of time. So, I mean, if things start to go well, you get super anxious. And sometimes try to blow things, self-sabotage. Because I mean, what's the point? It's like I know it's going to fall apart. So the only thing is just it's just a question of time. In the meantime, I'm getting more and more anxious. So when is it actually going to happen? So they just finish it, and and bada bing, bada boom. It doesn't matter what it is. And then usually he says, something now you deserve a little candy, a little off time. Run away. Run away. I mean, you got to rest sometimes. No, you can't fight all the time. You can't work all the time. And he'll get you. Chances are he'll get you into something that you really, really, really should not want to do. And first of all, he does it, in a mild kind of way. No big deal. Just look at the news. What's a big deal? I mean, you got to know what's happening, don't you? Well, then says, no, you don't. But just look at the news. What's the big deal? And then you look at the news, so there's an ad, and there's an ad, there's an ad, there's a woman, there's a woman in the ad. And so it's not, we're not talking about, I don't know, a princess, whatever it is. So it's not who knows what, sneezdik, but and suddenly, just like, wow, can't believe that happened. How did what happens? You find something like, I did it again, didn't I? All right. So what do? You see that he had your number. He got you. What you do is you start thinking. What kind of thinking you need to do? So Rebbe says in Torah test, what kind of thinking you need to do? Start doing thinking, how do I refrain from getting into this again? What am I going to do with when I'm attacked by these anxieties or by this feeling of rejection or fearing rejection or whatever it is? What am I going to do? Obviously, we spoke about it before. The first thing that you need to do is you need to recognize where your weak points are. What is the driving you over there? You can maybe like a walking, talking ADD. You can be a walking, talking inferiority complex. You can, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Just recognize it and accept it. Doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't make you a criminal. Kodesh Baruch Hu made you that way. This is what you need to work with. Now the thoughts as, okay, listen, I am the way I am. How do I make it so that I don't fall into that thing again? And you're making plans. By thinking about it, you are building your midas. When you're making plans, Rabbeinu said in Sicharan, we'll see it, that when a person makes a plan, I'm going to finish Shulchan Aruch, I'm going to do this, I'm going to tell time every single day, whatever, even if you don't end up actually doing it. The thought of making those plans is building real realities inside you. It's an extremely important nakuda to understand. I remember Rabbi Yaakov Meir Shechter saying, everybody understands that a bad thought is a bad thing. But people too easily forget that a good thought is a very good thing. Even if you don't manage to actually bring it to fruition, because I just thought, big deal. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. In fact, that's the only thing you can do. Once he has pulled you down, and you go to Kodesh Baruch Hu and say, I did it again, didn't I? Okay. And you ask Kodesh Baruch Hu to help you. Let me think, Machshavas Tevis, you create worlds inside your heart. There are, Baruch Hashem, there's a tremendous number of shiurim in Likutei Moharan, in Sichos, in whatever it is, that are far more sophisticated than the one we are having. The one that we are having has only one milah, as far as I'm concerned. It's all about what you do when things blow up in your face. It's down and dirty. It's how to fight in the trenches. That's what it's about. Let Hashem, because Baruch Hu should help you, should learn Likutei Halachos, you should learn, with other mashpiyim and get deeper to the ruchnisdik inyanim, which I cannot give because I myself don't know. But this aspect of fighting, of getting up once you fell down, and all these, this is what we are basically doing here. This is, this is what they call Krav Maga. This is contact battle. This is how you fight, in the I don't know what you call it in football, but whatever it is. Anyhow, Bezrat Hashem, this will be the shir for tonight. In Yirtzeh Hashem, we will continue the Likutei Moharan shir next Thursday. And Bezrat Hashem, the next time we will meet will be Motzei Shabbos, where on 9:30. Again, 9:30. When Bezrat Hashem, we